2023 is going to be unlike any other year. Rising interest rates, shrinking SaaS budgets, reduction of employees, which means less seats sold per deal. Here's the big question though. What do you do with your go-to-market plan as you're going into a macroeconomic environment like this? In this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 steps that I am personally following for all my SaaS companies, that I'm following for all the SaaS founders that I coach to actually prepare our go-to-market plan for 2023 and beyond, regardless of what the actual macroeconomic conditions are going to be. And when you follow these principles, you will get into peak performance in terms of your go-to-market plan so that you're prepared for anything. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you are new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this channel, if you're part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. Now, I don't know about you, but it seems like every year in our adult lives, I'm 39 at the moment, I'm gonna turn 40 next year, is a whole new level of unprecedented. Every year, there's some new thing, this is unprecedented, never been seen before. And 2023 that we're going into is no different. It seems like we're headed into a bunch of macroeconomic conditions that could lead to either a huge recession or it's just a correction from the pandemic, from a lot of money in the system, and it'll correct itself. We don't know yet, but here's the big thing that I learned. During the last great financial crisis, I was working at a hedge fund. The hedge fund was called Bridgewater Associates. It's run by Ray Dalio. In fact, the employee handbook at the time was the printed out wire-bound version of the principles. This is before the book came out. And one of the phrases that I learned while I was working there, one of the principles that I was taught was there's no such thing as good markets and bad markets. There's only good bets and bad bets. And Bridgewater did really well during the great financial crisis. You can kind of look it up. But the thing that I took away from that was, regardless of the macroeconomic conditions, what you have to focus on is what you can control. And the thing that you can control is how you show up into the market, what your go-to-market strategy is, and how you compete in the market and talk to your customers. So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles and the 3 steps that I'm personally following, that all the founders that I work with are following to get into peak performance for our go-to-market plan for 2023. If it's the best year ever, we will be showing up jacked and ripped and ready to perform. If it's the worst year ever, we are still gonna be showing up with focusing on what we can control and really competing in the market to continue to win. Now, I'm gonna walk you through the exact framework that I'm using, and then I'm gonna go through the 3 steps. So if you're excited to dig in, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that, and let's dig right into it. Now, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 steps. Each of them are the 3 key components of any go-to-market plan. But as you're going through this, I want you to ask yourself which category you fall into for each of these. That's how we're gonna really check our go-to-market plan and revamp it for 2023 so that we're prepared. Now, category A is what I would describe as nice to have, optional, otherwise known as a vitamin. Column number 2 is what I'm gonna call mission critical, or a painkiller. Okay, these are the 2 vectors we're gonna look at all of our go-to-market plan through and revamp accordingly. Because the thing that we have to ask ourselves is, if things are tough, if companies are having to slash budgets, it's not that they're not gonna buy, they're gonna buy. They're gonna buy certain things, they're gonna choose. And so if you went through a period of time where there was free money and people were buying everything, it doesn't mean they're gonna stop buying, it just means that they're gonna be more discerning. And it's up to us. What we can control is how we position ourselves in this market so that we fall into the right category. Step number 1, as you are working through this, let's actually number these because we're gonna go through these. Step number 1 is to look at your ideal customer profile, ICP. I talk about this in this channel all the time. If you don't know what an ICP is, maybe you're new or maybe you haven't been paying attention, you can check out this video where I go into explaining exactly what an ideal customer profile is. You don't have to go anywhere right now. I'll link to it below. But an ideal customer profile is a specific way of describing exactly who your customers are. Now, the thing that we are doing to really understand what our go-to-market plan should be is we're revamping our ideal customer profile. When I work with founders inside of my SaaS go-to-market coaching program, we have a very detailed process to define our ICP. We also have a very detailed process to actually reverse engineer our ICP based on our revenue data. What you want to be figuring out is what part of your ICP considers your solution a nice to have. That's the first question you want to ask. And you want to also find out what section of your ICP, what segment of your ICP, what size customer, what type of revenue considers this a mission critical component of their business. What I've found in working with over 250 SaaS companies and in my 15 years of experience in SaaS is you get a whole mix of customers. For some customers, they're using some aspect of your product where it falls into the nice to have optional category and they're very quick to churn or they just go out of business. The other segment of the market is they're going to continue to thrive in the recession because they're going to focus on good bets, even in a tough macroeconomic environment, just like we are. They're going to grow, they're going to thrive, but they're only going to keep the things that are actually mission critical to them. And so what you want to understand is, are we oriented around an ICP where our product and our offering is actually mission critical? Easy things to root out in this case. If you have a bunch of tiny customers and a bunch of tiny startups, a lot of them are not going to survive. So what you want to figure out is, hey, are we going after a new segment of the market that are going to survive and they can actually be alive and we can serve to their mission critical aspect of their business, or do we have to completely repivot? This is a great place to start because what you're really doing is really identifying what's the best market to focus on and making sure, looking at it through a lens of who's going to survive in 2023? We want them as our customers, and how do we make ourselves mission critical to them? So if you're targeting a part of your ICP that's just going to die, they're going to have a high mortality rate, and this typically happens in the lower end of the market, then it doesn't matter what you do with your product, they just won't have any money to buy. It doesn't matter what you do with these rest of the steps, they're just not going to buy. And so I always start with market to figure out what's going to be the most ripe market for us as we go into 2023, given the businesses that are actually going to have money and budget to spend. And they're going to be like, look, we're going to focus on the key essentials, but this is mission critical, so we're going to spend money on it. And we have the money and we're going to thrive. And that's why they're going to survive, right? And that's why you're going to survive, because you're going to follow the same principle. Step number one is to really revamp your ideal customer profile in a very specific way to identify who's going to be alive in 23 and how do we make ourselves mission critical to them, and really doing a gut check on, are we just saying we're mission critical or are we actually mission critical? Is there a part of the market where we are mission critical and they're going to be alive? And that's who you want to focus on. And ultimately it comes down to who, right? If you don't nail down the who, the people that will have budget, that will buy in 2023, and they're going to be buying the most essential things, the rest of these things are not really going to matter. So that's step number one. Step number two is your manifesto. And the manifesto is essentially your central strategic narrative. This is how you communicate what you do in the market. There are a few things the manifesto breaks down into. This is your value proposition. This is your positioning. And this is your messaging. These are critical choices you make in your go-to-market so that when you run that ad, you do that LinkedIn post, you write that blog post, you send that outbound email, you create that video, anything that you do in the actual execution of your sales and marketing, right down to your sales deck, has a consistent and strategic message that positions your product on the transformation you're doing for your customers and why it's mission critical, urgent, and important. Another thing that I always highlight when I'm working with founders on their messaging and their manifesto is asking, is it urgent and is it important? Businesses will spend money, no matter what, on urgent and important problems. So if you can frame your product to an urgent and important problem that these people have, then they're going to buy. They have to, because they have to solve their urgent and important problems in order to survive. However, if it's kind of an problem, it's not urgent or not important, And it has to be both, right? It can be an important problem, but if it's not urgent, they're not going to buy right now. But if it's urgent and important, they will buy right now. And what you want to be doing is doing a gut check on, okay, this is our market. This is who we're going to go after. Do these people have a mission critical problem, an urgent and important problem? And are we going to them with the messaging that communicates the importance of the problem, the urgency of the problem, and how we solve it? That is the manifesto. These two things alone will completely up-level how you talk about your product in 2023, and it will help you differentiate against your competition, and will help you focus on where you're most likely to win. I go back to the original story I told when I was working at Bridgewater. Are you starting to see how it almost doesn't matter what the macroeconomic conditions are, and also you can't do anything about it, but you can choose which market you're gonna go after. You can choose how you're gonna communicate how urgent and important of a problem it is and how you're solving it. And when you focus on these two things, you actually stand a chance to win even if it's the worst economic conditions. Are you starting to see the power in this? Before I go to number 3, let me pause here and let me just do a gut check with you. If you focus on these two things and you really think about your go-to-market in terms of the lens of, is it mission critical? Is it urgent? Is it important? Are we going after the market where it's urgent and important? Do they actually have the urgent and important problem? Are we educating them on it? Are we communicating how we solve for it? Can you just start to see, regardless of the economic conditions, you can still make good bets and win? If you're starting to see the power in this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that, and so do we. We put a lot of love into these videos. Also, if you're at this point where you're revamping your go-to-market strategy, you have some revenues and you're looking to scale and you're looking to win in 2023, and you're looking to embody this mindset of like, let's go do this and make good bets, regardless of what happens. We're gonna show up jacked and ripped and with the six-pack and actually win, then I encourage you to check out my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. This is where you and I work together to revamp your entire go-to-market strategy, test the right way, measure the right metrics, and iterate from there so you can scale. You don't have to go anywhere right now. I'll link to it below. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this video. Let's go to principle number 3 and step number 3, because this one's just as important. So just like how I'm describing that these companies that are going to survive and win and thrive are going to be making some choices on mission critical things. They're going to be making choices on what moves the needle and what doesn't move the needle. Where do we spend our money and where do we not? They're still going to be spending money. They're still going to be buying, but they're going to be doing it on the most important things. The same thing applies to you. You should be doing that as a business as well. Maybe you don't need the 5th chat application that your team is paying for. However, you definitely need to invest in marketing. You definitely need to invest in sales. You definitely need to find ways to grow. You will spend your money on that because otherwise you don't have a business. And so the same principle applies, right, for your customers as it does for you. And so the third principle, the third component of go-to-market that I always talk about is your Broadway show. And what you want to think about in terms of the Broadway show is a consistent set of marketing and sales activities that you're running to bring your manifesto, your message to your market, to the ICP. You do this consistently on the key channels that are delivering the best ROI, then you're gonna win, then you're gonna be successful. And if you're not, then you're gonna be spending a whole bunch of money with no ROI. The companies and the customers that are gonna win in 2023 are gonna be making sure they focus on the high ROI items. And you have to do the same thing. You need to look at, where are we spending money in terms of marketing? Where are we spending money in terms of sales? Cut the bottom performing reps. If they're not closing deals, then don't keep them. Cut the underperforming marketing channels. If you're not getting ROI on marketing channels, cut them. But also, if there are marketing channels that are working really well, for example, LinkedIn is working incredibly well for everyone in the go-to-market program. And we're doubling down on it because it's free, it's organic, and we actually have a way to actually deliver traffic and leads and pipeline using the manifesto. So we're gonna be doubling down on that. You should do the same. You should actually look at your stats, or even do a gut check if you don't have all the metrics, and decide, hey, what are the nice to haves for us, and what are the mission critical channels for us? What are the channels that are giving us ROI? What are the channels that are profitable? What are the channels that are efficient? These are questions that you should ask. And if you don't have any channels like that, and you're like, TK, we're just starting out, we don't even know, then pick the highest probability ones. But if you do have a bunch of things running, then just have an honest look. Look at the data and start to figure out like, hey, what's actually moving the needle and what's not. And when you start to do that, you will be one of the companies, just like the companies you're targeting on, hey, we're going to focus on the mission critical. We're going to invest in the things that has high ROI. We're not going to die, so we have to invest in our go-to-market. We have to grow. So let's go place good bets, even in a tough market. The best part about this plan and these steps is when you follow this, you're going to have a stellar go-to-market plan. The thing is, you should have targeted mission critical people in the first place. You should be solving an urgent and important problem in the first place. You should be constantly iterating your Broadway show so that you are focusing on your highest ROI channels anyway. But in the environment we had over the last couple of years, you could have gotten away with being a little bit more slack. In this new environment, you have to be performing at a higher level. And that's what this entails. But even if everyone's wrong about 2023, and it's the best year ever, the Fed starts cutting rates, there's more money supply, there's even more funding, even if those things happen, guess what? You now have a go-to-market plan that's jacked, ripped, and with the six-pack, and it'll outperform anyone else again, even in a great market. Again, because it's a good bet. Good bets do well in great markets and in bad markets. It doesn't matter. And that's the power in this three-step strategy. So to recap, if you want to revamp your go-to-market plan in 2023, number one, flesh out your ideal customer profile and focus on mission critical, urgent, and important, and make sure you're a painkiller. Number two, revamp your messaging, your positioning, your strategic narrative, build a manifesto so that it communicates how you're solving an urgent, important problem, why it's an urgent, important problem, and how your solution helps. And then focus on the right channels to bring that manifesto to your ICP on a consistent basis so that you are net profitable and you can win and can accelerate your growth on each channel. Now you know the 3 steps that I'm going to be following and all the founders that I work with are going to be following to revamp our go-to-market strategy for 2023. What you may not know is, hey, TK, how do I do a proper ICP exercise? How do I actually build a manifesto? It's very involved. It takes iterations. How do we communicate the urgent and important problem that we're solving? And how do we nail the one? How do we know it's the right one? How do we communicate our solution in the context of that? Which channel should we do to bring our manifesto to our ICP? This is why I created my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. Inside of this program, you and I work together to actually revamp your go-to-market strategy. This is the exact framework I follow with you to flesh out your ideal customer profile, to build your manifesto, and then run a consistent Broadway show so you can bring your manifesto to your ICP on a consistent basis. We also track the right metrics so we know exactly what we need to tweak as we keep iterating. It's an incredible program. We work with so many amazing founders. We've had so many success stories to a point where now we're publishing 2 episodes every week, one like this and one with success stories. And we have an entire playlist for it that I'll link to below. If you want to work together and you want to invest in your go-to-market plan, because you got to grow, you got to make good bets regardless of what 2023 holds, I encourage you to check out the go-to-market program. All you need to do is just go to tkcater.com/GTM. tkcater.com/GTM. All the details are in there. You just fill out a short form. We'll get on a call. We'll make sure we're a good fit. And if you are, and if we can help, then we're off to the races. We start revamping your strategy. And in the first 3 weeks of being in the program, we'll launch your first version and iterate from there. And also you can check out the success stories once you book the call so you can see all the incredible impact we've had through the program with founders talking about it for 45 minutes each on how they've grown their business and how they've revamped their go-to-market strategy and then won. So the link is below or just go to tkcater.com/GTM. Also, if you got value from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. And so do we. We put a lot of love and effort into these videos. Also, I drop an episode every single Sunday and sometimes on Thursdays with case studies on actionable strategies and tactics from myself and other founders I work with from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon if you haven't already. That way you'll get notified. If you have a fellow founder, if you have a co-founder that will get value from this video, they're a little anxious about 23 and you want to give them a plan so they feel calmer, please share this video with them. If you're part of a Slack group, a WhatsApp group, please share this video. We just want to help as many SaaS founders as possible in revamping the go-to-market plan for the coming year and beyond. And also, I'm doing this video in a way where this is going to happen again beyond 2023. This might happen in 2043, and the principles are the same. These are timeless principles. So if you're watching this and it's not 2023, put it in the comments below because I want to hear from you. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode or inside of the Go-to-Market program where we get to work together. Take care, everybody.